Ultraman X vs. Gigan, Millennium, and Monster X by Birdman. Explosions rocked the city of Tokyo as the two monsters wreaked havoc on its streets. Despite having only appeared a few minutes ago, a good portion of the city was already in ruins at the hands of the duo. One of the creatures, a strange bird-like creature covered in blue and silver armor and sporting scythes for hands, slashed around a group of apartment buildings with no other purpose than to destroy. The other, a humanoid beast with bone-like armor coating its pitch-black hide and sporting three draconic skulls, fired golden bolts from its four eyes at an office building, demolishing it in its entirety. Even now, as the forces of the Zeo moved in to combat them, that's either one I missed or something, or unless I'm missing context here, moved in to combat them, nothing seemed capable of halting their rampage. "Take this, you chicken-headed freak!" Hayato Kojima yelled.
What the hell?
I don't know. Bad acting on my part.
Is that a chicken?
It's very bad acting.
Yes, I mean, because I've been known for the best acting. Anyway.
Whoa, I didn't say you're acting. Why would you call him a chicken-headed freak? Don't insult Birdman like that.
Don't sound like it. That's very offensive.
That's great. So, headcanon, Gigan's a chicken-headed freak.
Anyway, we're distracting the audience way too much.
Yes, absolutely. So let's go ahead. And it's my fault. I'll take responsibility for that. Hayato Kojima yelled as he fired on the armored beast with the Sky Musketi's Phantom Photon Cannons. Holy shit. Anyway, the creature screeched angrily as the blast exploded against its hide and unleashed a crimson blast from its visor as the aircraft flew by. The blast separated into dozens of smaller ones, surrounding the Sky Musketi. Oh, Musketi, that's what it's saying. We're just gonna, I'm reading the chat right now. It says, how many paragraphs are we reading? We're just gonna alter, so. Yeah, we're just gonna alternate at will because it's a little longer than normal, so.
Alright.
Let's see. Sky Musketi. Yeah, surrounding the Sky Musketi with explosions. Hayato grit his teeth as he avoided the blast as best as he could. Elsewhere, the Land Musketi rolled up, Wataru Kazama at its helm, and fired a shot of its Phantom rail cannon at the skeletal monster. The blast exploded harmlessly against its ivory armor, eliciting a growl from the beast as it turned to face the modified truck. Wataru jerked the controls to the side, swiftly moving the Land Musketi to the side as the black and white creature fired its energy bolts at him.
So that's where Wataru's been. Wataru.
Yeah. Wataru. "Captain, nothing seems to be phasing these things," he reported to his Zeo divisor. Oh, alright, so Zeos are a thing. Gotcha. Divisor? His Zeo divisor as the Sky Musketi flew overhead, assaulting his attacker with its cannons to no effect. Oh gosh. Dialogue pieces. Take blasted. Alright. Truck it. Try to keep him contained to that area, Captain Shotaro Kamiki replied as he watched the battle unfold from Zeo headquarters. "We can't let them advance any further into the city." Got it! Okay, yeah, defense fort, Zeo. Alright. Got it, Hayato and Wataru simultaneously replied, even though I am one person. Shotaro turned to address Zeo's resident advisor. "Dr. Guruman, have you managed to identify anything about these monsters?" "Indeed," the Photonian replied. "They are warriors, weapons created by one of the most malevolent races in the galaxy." Yeah, if I could talk. The Exilians. Exilians? Oh, a woman. Great. Exilians? Sayuri Tachibana, Zio's deputy captain asked, to which Dr. Guruman nodded with his head affirmatively. Freak. Well, I'm gonna pass. Grandpa Birdzone, I'll pass it on to you because like dialogue's not my forte. I hope you're a better actor than I am.
Oh, I could always just do the dialogue.
Oh, go ahead.
You do it. You do. I need to be rather quiet at my end.
Okay, gotcha. Alex, you do it then.
Where are we at?
They reside on the hidden world of Planet X.
They reside on the hidden world of Planet X. The doctor went on.
Oh, okay.
Located somewhere in the shadow of Jupiter, there the technological advanced reign. He was a creating program their monsters. These two before I have only heard in whispers as their strongest. The cyber size beast and the dark Kaiser beat monster. Beat Monster X.
Oh, okay. Back on the battlefield, Hayato and Wataru unleashed their respective vehicles' weapons onto the monstrous duo. But like before, their attacks failed to inflict any significant damage. On the ground, Asuna Yamaze? I think that's Yamaze. Joined in the assault. Equipper her blaster. How did I miss that one? Equipper her blaster with the ultra booster to form the alt laser. Man, what the frick?
Who the hell comes up with these things?
Subaraya.
Oh, okay.
After charging the weapons for a few seconds, she pulled the trigger and fired an ultimate beam-like attack at Monster X's head. The Exilian warrior growled unpleasantly as the beam assaulted his head, and as it died down, he glared at Asuna, his eyes flaring with red light. Far away, Daichi Ozora sprinted towards Gigan and Monster X. He reached down, unclipping the X divisor from his belt and lifted it to face him.
X, let's unite.
He said to the image of the Ultra imprinted on its screen.
Alright, let's go.
The digital warrior shouted.
Digital warrior? What is this? Digimon?
Daichi thrust the X divisor outwards and slammed his free hand atop the device, causing the border of the screen to fold inwards into an X-shaped Golden light engulfed him as digital energy gathered around him, transforming him into the form of Ultraman X. So, Digimon Ultraman then. All right. The digital warrior of light swiftly grew to giant size and flew at Gigan and Monster X. He struck his leg out as he began to spin, yellow energy surrounding his form as he slammed his foot into the two monsters as he passed, knocking them to the ground. Ultraman X landed, rose to his full height, and turned to face the living Exilian weapons.
It's about time you showed up.
Wataru commented as he and the other members of Zio glad that the giant was here to help. Climbing to their feet, Gigan and Monster X stared down Ultraman X, letting out their trademark sounds. Copyright Toho 2017. Or 2018, I'm sorry. I dated this. Releasing his own signature sound. Ultraman
Is that a
X...
metaphor that this match is dated?
Releasing his own signature sound, Ultraman X struck up his battle stance and charged. Gigan and Monster X did the same, claws and sides poised to strike the hero down. Pass. Properly to Birdman.
Okay. Three warriors met midway. Ultraman X raised his arm to deflect Gigan's screaming scythe and planted his foot on the cyborg's chest, shoving him away. Ultraman X swung to the warrior, but Ultraman X under these fists, one after the other, the skeletal monster's chest, before following up with a kick, driving Monster X back. Gigan came in again, swinging his sides widely as he drove Ultraman X back. He lunged his right side forward, only for the blade to be caught by the Warrior of Light. Using Gigan's momentum, Ultraman X tossed the armored creature over his shoulder and as he focused on the cyborg, Monster X planted a flying kick on Ultraman X's back. The hero stumbled and spun around, crossing his arms across his chest in an X shape to block the alien's incoming fist. His leg lashed out, but Monster X really raised his own arm to deflect the digital warrior's kick. Behind them, Gigan stood to his feet, shrieking with anger. His visor flashed as he fired his cluster light ray. Ultraman X cried out as the beam exploded around him. Before him, Monster X's eyes flashed with light. Ultraman X quickly ducked and rolled as the Zillion warrior fired his gravity beams. The bolts missed him, instead detonating against Gigan and formed a bird-like monster again. Ultraman X stood up, thrusting his right arm at Monster X and discharging an X slash from his hand. Monster X roared as the energy attack struck his head, throwing sparks as he crashed to the ground. Ultraman X kept his eyes on the two warriors as they got to their feet at the same time. He charged at them and leapt at Gigan, only for the cyborg monster to knock him away with his scythes. As he tried to stand, Monster X ran up and drove his foot into sending the hero rolling away with a grunt of pain. As Ultraman X stood up, Gigan and Monster X assaulted him with their cluster light ray and gravity beams. With seconds to spare, Ultraman X brought up his arms and summoned his X barrier wall, blocking a deadly projectile. As their attack ceased, he brought down the barrier only to receive a surprise attack from Gigan. The Zillion cyborg saw past, his active buzzsaw gassing against Ultraman X's shoulder and bringing him down. A gasp of pain escaped the warrior's mouth as he clutched his shoulder, but he was forced to ignore the pain as Monster X's footsteps hit the ground, taking the flying kick. Ultraman X pulled himself to his feet in time to reach out and grab Monster X's arms as he tried spatting his fists into the distant digital wall. The two wrestled for control, twisting and spinning as he hit the ground. Monster X's superior strength went out, and he pushed Ultraman X to the ground. The digital hero, however, was able to use this to his advantage. As Monster X came down, he planted his feet on its guts and pushed, sending the interstellar demon flying overhead and crashing into the ground. Ultraman then jumped up and outstretched his leg into prime kicking pose. As Monster X stood up, Ultraman X came down, his foot glowing with flames. That's your cue.
Oh, Jesus Christ. X? Cross kick.
He and Daichi cried out simultaneously as his foot collided with Monster X's chest. An X-shaped explosion blasted out from the alien's chest as he fell to the ground, roaring in agony. Instead, he stuck a battle pose, preparing for the Zillion monstrosity's retaliation. A familiar screech came from behind. Ultraman X spun around in time to receive one of Gigan's blades as it smashed into his face. In a shout, the warrior fled quickly back with his feet and outstretched his arms as he leapt into the air in pursuit of Gigan. The evil, mechanical beast saw his focused chase. His rocket boosters flared and increased his acceleration. Not even he could outfly an Ultraman X pulled his arms back to thrust him forward, firing twin X slashes at the cyborg's wings. Gigan could do nothing but shriek with pain as the X double slash struck his wings and reduced him to tatters. Unable to retain flight, he plunged to the ground. A column of soil and concrete was thrown up as Gigan clanged with the earth. X tucked in his arms and legs to form a ball as he absorbed heat energy around him, and flames soon formed around his body. Pass.
Attacker X. GVZ's try.
Yeah, Joe, you're up.
Oh, okay. The giant warrior spread out his arms and legs to form an X shape with his body. Does everything Ultraman X do has to involve X?
Yes.
Oh. A burst of fire shot off his form and struck the Gigan, engulfing him and the surrounding area in a massive explosion in the shape of course, an X. As the flames died away, Ultraman X surveyed the scene. Several gravity bolts pierced the air and struck Ultraman X's back, eliciting a pained yell from the... I'll pronounce it how I want.
Okay.
From the digital warrior. As a cloud of smoke and fire rose from the hero's back and he fell to the ground. Monster X looked on with dark intent. Ultraman X flattened a resonant residential building as he fell to the ground.
Wow,
He
two
lay in a
monsters fell to the
wreckage.
ground.
Oh. He lay in a wreckage, his head rolling and his limbs twitching. With a groan, he managed to stand and instantly locked eyes with Monster X. From behind him, a pair of grappling cables shot out from the aftermath of Ultraman X's bombardment. Ultraman X gasped in shock as one of the cables wrapped around his torso, securing his arms, whilst the other wrapped around his neck. Gigan let out a laughter-like sound as he emerged from the black smog, slowly reeling in his cables to keep Ultraman X secured as he approached. The digital warrior struggled against his bonds as Gigan and Monster X approached, but the cables were too strong and too tight for him to break free. Monster X closed the distance between them and slashed Ultraman X across the chest. The Warrior of Light yelled as the alien demon's claws sliced across his armor-like skin. Unsatisfied with the result, Monster X began slashing Ultraman X again and again, and we're not doing this joke this season.
Good.
As Gigan drew nearer, amidst the sound of his own cries of pain and Monster X's thick growls of pleasure, Ultraman X tensed up in fear as Gigan started up his buzzsaw, filling the air with its sound. Within Ultraman X, Daiichi staggered and gasped with each strike of Monster X's claws. The bond between man and Ultra was strong, but came at the cost of sharing each other's pain.
Daichi, I'm not sure how long we could keep going.
Alerted Ultraman X, his voice echoing from the X divisor.
Then we'll have to play the rest of our cards.
I'm sorry, that's still pretty great.
That was great. Daiichi replied, meaning the sentence figuratively and literally. So they're gonna play Go Fish with Monster X and Gigan.
Yep.
He reached into his pocket and retrieved the Cyber Gamora cyber card and slotted it into the X divisor.
What? Wow.
Okay, this is
This is official, right? Like,
I think he does.
what in the world?
Who the hell comes up with this shit?
Subaraya!
From the outside world, Ultraman X's color timer changed from a bright blue to a blinding yellow. Monster X stopped his attack, growling in confusion at the event. Particles of digital energy engulfed Ultraman X's chest and arms and materialized into solid form, creating the gauntlets and chest piece of Cyber Gamora Mon's armor. The creation of the armor severed the cables entwining Ultraman X, allowing him to stretch his arms and assume a battle stance. Monster X's eyes widened in shock as with a yell. Ultraman X swung his right gauntlet into the skeletal alien's head. Monster X went flying through the air, spinning like a corkscrew, and smashed into a set of apartment buildings. The structures collapsed, burying him alive under tons of debris. With one fiend dealt with, Ultraman X turned his attention to Gigan. He was already swinging his scythes at the armored warrior. Gigan's blade slashed at Ultraman X, only to uselessly bounce off his armored vest and create a little more than a faint spray of sparks as they struck. Ultraman X went on the attack, sending his gauntlets crashing to Gigan's chest and sides. Chest. Does Gigan have more than one chest? Never mind.
Yeah.
Driving the cyborg back. Seeing an opportunity, he flipped himself. That was my plate. He flipped himself to the ground, smashing his foot atop Gigan's head and driving the cyborg into the ground as he went down. Both armored extraterrestrials, as different as could be, stood up simultaneously. Twin ports on Gigan's chest opened and ejected razor-sharp discs that homed in on the Ultra Warrior. The disc struck his armor and bounced off, only to home in again with the same results. After this repeated itself several times, Ultraman X smashed the disc out of the sky. The Warrior of Light and the Exilian Menace engaged once again. Gigan assaulting Ultraman X with hammer-like blows of his sides, and while the digital hero the biomechanical menace again and again with his gauntlets. Both fighters' arms became almost like a blur as they unleashed a flurry of blows into one another, all the while blocking each other's strikes as best they could. As they continued to fight, Gigan noticed that Ultraman X's head was not protected by the same armor that covered his hands and chest. Seeing an opportunity, his right arm swung at the hero's neck. Before Gigan could decapitate the warrior, Ultraman X swung his own right arm, smashing the oversized gauntlet into the bird-like cyborg's sight. The massive gauntlet, charged and glowing with energy, shattered the blade on contact. Gigan's deafening screams of agony filled the sky. As the cyborg backed off, his damaged arm dangling uselessly at his side, Ultraman X shook his arms as he charged the energy for his next attack. Blinding blue energy enveloped his armor and discharged across the ground in data-like patterns. Gigan thrust himself forwards, grinding his buzzsaw against the digital warrior's chest piece in the hopes of halting the process. His efforts were for naught.
Gomora also wave.
Oscillatory.
Ultraman X thrust his arms forward into Gigan's chest. The claws of his gauntlets piercing the metallic beast's armor and stabbing deep into him. He began pumping him full of artificial oscillatory energies, earning a screech of pain from Gigan as the power scorched the cyborg's insides. A bright glow emanated from Gigan's armor as Ultraman X pumped even more energy to him. With a final screech, Gigan exploded into a ball of brilliant blue fire.
Oh, that's cool. Alright, great shots here. Look at that.
Well, the fun's over.
Oh, now he's starting to show up.
And past the gray shot.
No. This episode was started literally the day I get off work at 5 o'clock my time.
Right.
So,
No excuses, you're late.
Also, there's currently ice all over the roads. There's major accidents
Oh,
everywhere.
No excuses. I get my walking stick.
Yeah, my brother left for work 45 minutes ago. He made it 10% of his journey to his job, which starts in 10 minutes. So,
Jeez.
yeah.
Yeah, link's already in the chat. Just pull it up and type in, Control F and find Ultraman X thrusts his arms forward into Gigan's chest. Is that where we're at? No. Wrong one. I apologize.
No, it's
the rubble stirred as Monster X
the
dragged
rebel
himself
stirred
free.
as Monster X dragged himself free.
Yeah.
Give me 1 second. Just
Control
going to
F
the
and find that sentence. And Joe,
Okay.
if you'd like, you could pass the gray shot if you want to. So.
Yeah, I said past the gray shot.
Okay.
Okay. It was dragged what?
The rubble stirred as Monster X dragged himself free.
Okay, got it. How many?
Just alternate when you want to.
Okay. In that case, and cut back in. The rubble stirred as Monster X dragged himself free. Heavy breaths came out of the cosmic demon's maw as he pulled himself across the ground. He slowly recuperated his strength and was able to get to a kneeling position. The sound of Gigan's destruction caught his attention, and he looked up to see a cloud of dark smoke and bright sparks rise up before Ultraman X. A small object fell from the sky and hit the ground before Monster X with a loud, metallic, ringing sound. Monster X looked down at the object and recognized it as Gigan's severed head, charred and warped from the explosion. Monster X snarled in rage, his eyes burning with fury. He didn't care a thing about Gigan's death. Monster X felt no such things as compassion and sorrow, even for his allies. What angered him was the fact that Ultraman X had been able to destroy Gigan. The fact that this so-called Warrior of Light had been able to defeat one of his master's greatest warriors infuriated him beyond belief. The giant had made a mockery of the Exilian's name. Monster X would see to his destruction for that. Monster X rose to his feet and spread his arms, veered his head back, releasing a powerful, rage-driven roar into the sky. Ultraman X spun around to face him, shocked by the skeletal monster's return. Monster X's gaze fell on the digital warrior, and his eyes flashed with light, unleashing his gravity beams at his foe. The G symbol on Ultraman's gauntlets glowed as he raised his arms and created a barrier as Monster X's destructive bolts came at him. The bolts were stopped by the shield, but Monster X kept firing, creating a continuous stream of gravity bolts that slowly began to eat away at Ultraman X's shield. That is a strange pronunciation of a character. We need... I mean, just saying it quickly, very fast. Grunting in exertion, Ultraman X struggled to keep up his only source of protection against Monster X's power. After several more seconds of continuous fire, Monster X's gravity beams tore down the barrier and ripped into Ultraman X's armor. With a few more concentrated blasts, the Cyber Gamora armor was destroyed too, leaving the Ultra Hero to feel the full effect of Monster X's awesome power as it struck him in the chest and gut.
Has that actually lost the Gamora too?
Yeah, apparently. GVG is currently whining right now for Gamora. So, thanks, man. Ultraman X screamed in unimaginable agony as he fell with an earth-shaking thud and struggled to right himself before Monster X could press on his advantage. But Monster X was already sprinting towards him and closed the distance between them within seconds. Ultraman X crossed his arms as he got onto a knee, catching Monster X's hand as it swiped at his color timer. As he stood up, he thrust his arms out and shoved the alien back. Ultraman X grabbed Monster X by the head and prepared to smash his fist into the dark monster's skull over and over. As his first strike flew towards the alien, his fist buried itself in Monster X's waiting palm. Ultraman X fought to free his arm from the alien's grasp as his arm began to be forced back far beyond its range of movement. Monster X flashed his teeth in a cruel smile as he pushed the warrior's arm back, threatening to dislocate the limb. Before he could, however, he changed his mind. He released Ultraman X's arm, and simultaneously drove his opposite fist into the hero's skull. The Warrior of Light wobbled in the streets as he tried to keep his balance. He could not recover fast enough to prevent Monster X's follow-up attack. The demon from the stars leapt up and spun in the air. He extended his right arm and smashed his outstretched fist into Ultraman X's face. As he rose higher, his forked tail whipped around and planted a devastating slap across the Ultra Warrior's skull. Oozy from the Exilian Beast's relentless blows, Ultraman X could not effectively defend himself as Monster X came at him and delivered a succession of powerful, relentless blows onto the digital warrior. Monster X's sickening laughter filled the air amidst Ultraman X's cries of agony. His hand tightened around the digital hero's throat, and he lifted him off the ground as he continued to smash his fist into the warrior's gut. The assault carried on for seemingly an eternity, when in reality it was only 30 seconds. Monster X stopped punching, a bored expression crossing his features. Beating the life out of the Ultra Hero had grown boring. With a flick of his wrist, he discarded Ultraman X like a broken toy. The hero hit the ground hard, generating a small tremor that shook the area. Ultraman X weakly attempted to rise. Every part of his body was burning with pain. To add to his predicament, his color timer flashed on and off with red light, signaling the depletion of his active time. Like a predator stalking its prey, Monster X slowly approached. The skeletal demon's eyes glowed in preparation for the release of his unholy power. Before the alien could fire, one final burst of energy shot through Ultraman X's body, granting the warrior the strength to leap up and slam his foot into Monster X's exposed throat. The Exilian beast reeled back, choking. Ultraman X wasted no time on following up his attack. He knew he couldn't give the space demon even an inch of room to attack.
X cross chop.
Oops, sorry. Pass.
Oh, no, Alex does dialogue.
Ah, makes sense.
I mean, unless you want to pass, then...
Oh,
So
yeah,
who's ready?
Yes, who is after me?
I guess it would be Alex until the butt end. So,
Okay, cool.
yeah, Alex, you can take over for a bit.
Ultraman X right glowed with blue light as he leapt up and sliced Monster X diagonally across the chest, creating a stream of energy in its wake. As he spun midair, he repeated the process at a different angle down Monster X's back, sandwiching the skeletal being behind two streaks of energy from the front and back, resembling a giant axe. As Ultraman X landed and spilled down the street, the X exploded and Monster X vanished in blue blast of blue light. Can we mute Grayshot? He's echoing.
Oh, yeah, I'll mute myself, sorry.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
just kidding.
Oh,
Digging his feet
First
into
turn.
the tarmac, Ultraman X left huge gouges in the street as he came to a stop and turned to observe the aftermath. From the dark cloud rising upwards, Monster X emerged, smoke drifting off his shift armor. It's barely even scratched. Oh, whoops.
It's barely even scratched.
Daichi stated in a mixture of awe and horror.
What will it take to kill this monster?
We don't have much time to find out. X interjected. Let's finish this, Daichi. Ultraman X's color timer flashed yellow again after yellow. Hero brought his right arm across his chest, pointing it to his. Monster X watched on as Digital Warrior swept his left leg across the ground, flung his arms and torso in the same direction. Digital energy cracked across Ultraman X's body and through the street's colors, creating a beautiful, awe-inspiring picture. Well, Monster X instinctively knew it was more than that. Exanian Ray. Hey, who's echoing through me?
I think it might be you, Alex. I think, like, you're echoing yourself. If that makes sense.
That is weird.
I think it's Birdman.
Oh, blame it on me, why don't you?
His icon sometimes when yours comes up.
Right.
Ultraman X spun his torso to face Monster X and crossed his arms X formation. A beam of digital energy in the same shape fired from his arms towards the demon face. Monster X quickly retaliated, unleashing a constant stream of gravity and halting the Exadnian's rays progress halfway between him and Ultraman X. The light generated by the fusion point of the two beams your sun in a clash for dominance in the city. Ultra and Exilian Warrior alike strained their bodies and pushed to the limits to keep up their signature attacks. The meeting point of the two beams shifted back and forth with the two pressed on, but neither could force the other back. At the same moment, the two warriors unleashed an extra burst of energy into in the hopes of fighting rivals. Both surges connected at the epicenter of the beam war. Hold on, I'm gonna jump off for a second and see if that does anything.
Alright, gotcha.
If you'd like, I can take up the position because I didn't realize how long this was. I actually thought that was going to be the ending at that X drop.
Nope. Yeah, we're like the halfway mark. Also, I'm still hearing... Wait.
Okay,
I don't hear it anymore. Oh, wait.
we're
It's
gonna,
barely there.
we're gonna have to have a
Hallelujah.
discussion of who can echo
Okay, I don't
because
hear an echo
the
this
results
time.
are weird.
Yeah, that was weird. Normally doesn't do that for me.
It usually doesn't.
Okay, I already forgot where I left off at.
Where was it? Major Sun.
I think it was around like both surges connected at the epicenter
Okay.
of the war. The result was predictable, like that region.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. The result was predictable, just like every match that involves Ultraman. The energy contained in the space between the two beams exploded and engulfed the area in flames. The shockwave generated by the explosion was powerful enough to rip Ultraman X and Monster X off their feet. Much smaller Sky Musketti and Land Musketti was cast aside like toys. Who the hell comes up with these names? And tumbled through the air. Like most explosions, the blast was brief, but its effects were catastrophic. God knows how long it's been since Hayato, Wataru, and Asuna lost consciousness. 3 members of Zio pulled themselves out of the rubble and assessed the carnage. A large section of the city was now nothing but a charred crater littered with what can barely be credited as husks with former buildings. Asuna quickly unclipped her Zio visor and attempted to make contact with Zio HQ, while Hayato and Wataru began assessing their respective vehicles for damage. The border of the crater's blackened rubble shifted. Ultraman X dragged himself free of his would-be tomb. He observed the apocalyptic landscape as he stood up. A great sadness welled up in Ultraman X and Daichi's souls as the effects of their actions had defeated Monster X, but at the cost of how many lives? The people reading this. Nah, I'm just kidding. Movement caught Ultraman X's eye. The wreckage shifted and fell away as an ebony and ivory creature pulled itself through. Ultraman X just stared, shocked and horrified that Monster X had somehow managed to survive. But as the space demon tried to stand, he crumbled and fell into all fours. A thick mist escaped his mouth as he moaned at his aching body. Oh! Even the great Monster X had reached his limit. Ultraman X saw a golden opportunity to destroy the malicious creature once and for all. To an end to the suffering and misery he had caused on Earth and across the galaxy. And the 50th anniversary, the warrior's flight struck his attack force once more as he summoned what strength he had left. Monster X stopped moaning, replacing the sound with a much more sinister one. Ultraman X froze up, unable to comprehend what the alien was doing. Asuna, Hayato, and Wataru stopped their repairs. The sound reached their ears as they too stared at Monster X. Those gathered in the main office at Xeo HQ could only stare at the main screen as Monster X shook with the sound of laughter. Insane, sickening laughter that pierced the very soul fall that heard it and filled them with dread. As the Dark Warrior continued laughing, a pair of appendages began to sprout from his back. Monster X snapped his head to stare not only into the eyes of Ultraman X, but the eyes of Daichi Azusa. As the appendages spread outwards into a pair of massive golden wings. Ultraman X remained frozen, shocked, and Monster X's body began to transform. The half-skulls on his shoulders spread outwards and expanded into fully formed heads, each one spraying mist and cackling madly. His flesh glowed with red energy and his body began to shift and expand as much his muscles and jaw increased in size. Captain, Asuna reported, the monster is transforming. Damn it. Who's echoing for me?
I can't tell.
Hello.
I don't think it's me this time.
I think it might be. Dang it! It was Birdman was following me so perfectly right on that without.
All right, Nagota's back now proper apparently. So, or maybe I don't know. But yeah, I mean, a lot of that weird noise I think comes from Birdman, but the echoing might be a different story. So,
Strange.
But anyway,
not transforming. Dr. Gruel corrected with a hardened expression, his tone filled with dread. Evolving. Ugh. Monster X's limbs stretched out and his body contorted into a horse-like structure. His skeleton armor black hide grew thicker and harder as he grew larger. Sounds sexy. As his arms shifted into muscular legs and the muscle of his ear pulsated, his flashing white armor changed to a mixture of gold and dark blue. Daichi, we don't have much time before our bond separates. Monster X finishes its transformation. We won't have the strength to do it. Pass.
Alright, Nagota, are you available to read?
Yes. Hello?
Yes.
Greetings.
Hello, Nagoda.
Oh, Nagoda.
Yes.
Okay, so where did you end off at?
He ended on the sentence that said, Daichi, we don't have much time left before our bonds separate.
Daichi nodded, understanding what Ultraman X was saying.
Yeah, that's where you start.
Okay, so we don't... Where?
Daichi nodded, understanding what Ultraman X was saying.
Yeah,
Guys,
just
you got
control
it wrong.
F,
It's
find
called
that,
Daichi.
and you should be good.
It's called Daich, not Daichi.
Isn't the guy Dai?
Oh, the eye's missing.
Aha! See, I'm not crazy.
So,
You're all crazy. We all know you're crazy.
You're not just wrong, but stupid too.
gosh darn it. Alright. Yeah, it's Daichi. Daich. Alright, you ready? I can't hear Nagoda and his little... Oh, Discord keeps kicking him off.
Goater.
Uh-oh. Yeah,
But Discord kicked him off.
Oh, no.
No.
Yeah, I can't hear anything. Oh, hang on. He's there. He's there. Alright, do your thing. Oh.
Goda.
Nagoda muted himself. Because Discord's being a jerk to him. Well then, shoot.
Kaiju X could go.
I guess so. I guess I'll have to take over.
I'll step in. Mine was relatively short, so it's the least I can do.
I'll take a couple, then pass it on to you.
Okay.
Oh wait, Nagoda's back. Nagoda's back.
Hold up, confusing stuff going on right now.
Oh, okay. If you can't read, that's not.
Yeah.
Right. If you can't read, you don't have to. Then. All right. I guess if that's the case, I'll take over for a little bit. Daichi nodded, understanding what Ultraman X was saying. He reached into his pocket and produced another cyber card. Unlike the previous cyber card, this one did not contain the powers of an artificial kaiju, but another giant of light from another time in another place. What? Alright. He slotted the card into the X divisor, fusing the power of Ultraman Nexus with Ultraman X. Wow, this series... I have no context for this series. This series is freaking weird. Anyway. Glowing particles engulfed Ultraman's forearms to assemble his armaments and solidified into the armed Nexus. Knowing that time was short, Ultraman X began to set up for Ultraman X's most famous attack. Monster X's bones creaked and groaned as they settled into their new forms and positions. The once skeletal warriors still continued to laugh, but the sound was slowly morphing to a higher-pitched cry. All three of Monster X's heads began to change, growing horns and elongating as three tree trunk-like necks pushed up. Alex, dialogue.
Oh. Kaiser Ghidorah.
No, Overray Storm.
Oh, fuck. Overray Storm.
There we go. Ultraman X joined his arms together in an L-shaped L position, and from his vertical arm, a dazzling blue ray fired. It closed the distance in an instant and tore into the mutating Monster X's chest. Monster's X chest.
Okay, I'm back.
Oh.
Yeah, it was just that my dad had to go bring his brother to the cemetery.
Oh.
To go visit a grave or something like that.
Okay.
So,
let me
now I'm stuck in the store by myself.
Alright. Alrighty then.
I was gonna say, if that sentence ended with, and then they got inside the grave. Dakota, you have a lot more explaining to do.
Yeah. The alien's laughter changed into a cry of agony, but it was not the sound Ultraman X knew. A deafening chorus of hell's shrieks filled the warrior's ears as Monster X was lost in a cloud of fired smoke. For a moment, there was peace. Hang on a second. I accidentally lost myself for a second. The entire city was silent, save for the consistent beeping of the color timer. As the smoke barrier drifted away in the winds, The giant of light and data waited impatiently to see the results of his attack. A haunting trio of shrieks filled the air as they died down. 3 golden bolts shot forth from the cloud. They ripped into Ultraman X and smashed the warrior into the ground with a spray of sparks and a tortured cry. The armed nexus faded away into a cloud of digital particles, leaving the hero weaponless against this new form of the Exilian terror. Ultraman X propped up one of his elbows to see the cloud as a monstrous silhouette walked forth and revealed Monster X's new form to the world. It was a familiar form, but different in its own regard. The members of Zeo looked upon this new creature with memories of carnage and destruction wrought by similar beings. But this tri-headed abomination was no mad king or grand destroyer or even a harbinger of death. This was something new. Something with an aura of power so great they could practically feel it. Each member racked their brains for an appropriate name for this monster of monsters. It was Dr. Guru Man, the only one present with any knowledge of the power that fueled this antithesis of life, that gave the beast a fitting name.
Kaiser Ghidorah.
As if the Dark Hydra could hear the Fantonian's words, he shrieked once again, his cry loud enough to drown out the beeping of Ultraman X's color timer. He galloped towards the fallen hero with a speed that defied his colossal bulk, his 3 heads crying out like a mad banshee. Oh, that's nice. Oh, I like that. Ultraman X managed to stand despite the violent shaking of the ground as the Exilian killer approached. The digitalized hero discharged an X slash in the hopes of stopping or slowing Kaiser Ghidorah's advance. The blast of the energy sparked harmlessly against the Leviathan's hide. With no time to charge any other attacks, all Ultraman X could do was brace for the inevitable. Kaiser Ghidorah reared up on his hind legs and lashed out with his forelimbs. The terrible Titan's feet planted themselves on Ultraman X's chest, and with a mighty shove, he sent the warrior staggering back. Shrieking madly, the Kaiser-powered Hydra reared up again, striking Ultraman X with tremendous kicks of his forelegs. A hard blow to the face knocked the digital Ultraman to the city streets. Kaiser Ghidorah came down, driving his feet into Ultraman X's gut with his colossal bulk. A gasp of excruciating pain left the Warrior of Light's mouth as he was pressed into the asphalt. With a chorus of banshee-like cries, Kaiser Ghidorah lifted himself off Ultraman X and came down again, driving him further into the ground. As the Exilian abomination reared up once more, Ultraman X came to. He rolled to the side, avoiding the Kaiser Beast's feet by millimeters as they smashed into the imprint of his form. Ultraman X flipped himself off the ground and to his feet as Kaiser Ghidorah's 3 heads turned to face him. The digital warrior moved in, planting hard chops and smashing his fist into malicious Hydra's necks and kicking its elephantine legs. Kaiser Ghidorah felt nothing. Pass.
Also, I kind of heard a lot of static behind you, Kaiju X. I don't know if anyone else was.
It shouldn't be that, like,
Didn't hear it.
if there was any static...
I hear the static too, so.
All right.
I mean, it's on his side, so if we're hearing it, he might not be picking it up.
Yeah, exactly. When I record, it's recording me raw. It's not going to be picking up the static you guys are hearing. So that's
Exactly.
That's
Which
why.
is why he always sounds so much better than all of us. It's intentional, he swears.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, the abomination of Ghidorah kind swung his necks down, using his head as organic clubs as the base of his jaw smashed against Ultraman X's head and shoulders. As the Leviathan...
Can I say something real quick?
By all means.
I never expected Ghidorah kind to be a word.
Same here.
Guys, they're interrupting the reading. Yeah.
Listen. Are you a Ghidorah kind? Are you part of Ghidorah kind?
I am.
He said
no,
Ghidorah's
shit,
part of
Kaiju
Ghidorah
X,
kind.
never mind.
You sexually identified the Ghidorah kind.
Listen, listen, this is a friendly note to any of those that are in the Ghidorah kind. You know, we're not here to, neglect you. We're not ignoring you.
You're all fucking ugly.
If there's a Ghidorah kind, that means there's a Godzilla.
I literally was gonna say, Des Ghidorah is pretty much the boy. Okay, as the Leviathan's central head came down again, Ultraman X caught it. Clutching the beast's head with one hand, he punched it again and again with his other fist. Before he could bash Kaiser Ghidorah's face in, the dragon's other heads lunged at him, biting down on his arms and removing his grip on the Dark Hydra. Kaiser Ghidorah's heads released the warrior, only to unleash the power of their gravity bolts. The three lightning-like bolts combined into one stream of destruction and slammed into Ultraman X's chest. The Digital Warrior's cries filled the holy beast's soul with glee as he was pushed back. Further and further, the Hero of Light was shoved back, until the powerful bolt forced him into a skyscraper and buried him in its remains. The debris rolled away as Ultraman X pulled himself free. He collapsed onto the streets, his color timer ringing at an almost constant rate. Kaiser Ghidorah seemed to sense the life leaving the Ultra Warrior, and shrieked with laughter. His jaws opened, and he fired his gravity beams again. Instead of exploding on contact, they engulfed Ultraman X in a gravitational field, and dragged him towards their master. The hero struggled, but he no longer had the strength to keep fighting back and break free. Kaiser Ghidorah resolved to make sure he never did. As his beams cut off, the Kaiser-powered Hydra shot his heads down and clamped his jaws around Ultraman X's neck and shoulders. In the tri-headed dragon's throats, a faint blue glow appeared as he gorged all the Ultra's remaining energy. Ultraman X twitched in the abomination's grip as his color timer flashed faster and faster. The light in his eyes began to dip as Ghidorah drained every speck of power from the warrior's body. As the Hydra gorged, he failed to notice the repaired land Muschetti roll up a few streets away. As Wataru bore its cannon down on the Exilian beast, Hayato moved the Sky Muschetti into position. On the roof of a nearby building, Asuna joined the formation. As she brought her bazooka to bear down on Kaiser Ghidorah, the Cyber Gamora Cyber card materialized on her divisor, and she slotted into the device, funneling the cyber monster's power into her weapon.
Don't worry, I already pointed out how stupid it sounded.
I feel like there should be a Yu-Gi-Oh! With, like, believe in the heart of the cards as he's pulling this out.
Oh, I thought it was like Digimon.
Oh, that is
true. Don't worry. That card can also summon a Cyber Gamora.
Guys, you forget, Digimon and Yu-Gi-Oh! Are inferior to Pokemon.
This is true. As we'll see in the next sentence, Hayato and Wataru produced their own cyber cards, sliding the Cyber King Joe and Cyber Zeton, very famous Pokemon by the way, cards into their respective vehicles' divisor. As the three charged their attacks, they targeted Kaiser Ghidorah's three heads. With a command from Captain Kamiki, the trio fired simultaneously.
Gomora Asatori Cannon Fire. Wow. That's a railgun fire.
Hey, Joe, destroy cannon fire.
A destructive blast was released from the three weapons. The blast of blue, red, and yellow power struck Kaiser Ghidorah's heads and blanketed them in explosions as chunks of the beast's flesh rained down on the streets below. The Hydra relinquished the hold, shrieking in pain, and dropped the Ultraman X's almost lifeless body to the ground. Temporarily blinded by the attack, the Dark Thing fired his gravity bolts wildly in the hopes of finding his attackers. In the fading dimension within Ultraman X, Daichi thrust his arm forwards and summoned a figure of an evolved Ultraman X. Wait. In the fading dimension from Ultraman X, Daichi thrust his arms forward and summoned a figure of an... Does anyone just imagine him thrusting forward and summoning himself? Like... What...
I mean, he does do this in the show, so...
Alright, where are we?
Did Ultraman X predict the
loud static?
Evolved Ultraman X, yeah. Grabbing the toy-like item, it's a toy apparently. He thrust it atop the X divisor.
Found it.
Converting the Spark Doll energy into blade-like item with a crystalline, multicolored blade.
Daichi?
Ultraman X struggled to speak in his weakened state.
Don't try and risk your life to stop that thing. I don't have the strength in me to take another hit from behind.
That's because we've been fighting on its ear.
Great shot.
Oh,
Daichi responded.
There's still more.
Oh, well, there's Daichi responded.
Daichi responded.
So we'll take it to where we have the advantage.
Whatever you're playing, if it doesn't work, it's not just my life on the line.
Ultraman Elgo struggled to get out the words. Daichi knew full well what the consequences of losing were. There was a huge margin of error for his plan. All it would take was one thing going wrong, and it was over for them. His grip on the blade tightened as he strengthened his resolve. Thousands had died already because of his actions. No more. Sliding his index finger up the indentation in his blade's side and pulling the trigger on its hilt, Daichi activated the item and swung it in front of him to create an X out of rainbow light.
Exceed X.
The light spread outwards out of Ultraman X's color timer, covering his form in light. His eyes lit up and he got to his feet as his body started to evolve. His armored skin increased in density, and more pieces of armor began to coat his form. When the light resided, Ultraman X's body sported a new digital theme. A crest of multicolored crystal, the X Slugger, materialized on his forehead in a flash of color. Kaiser Ghidorah's vision returned in time to witness the birth of Ultraman Exceed X. Oh.
Wouldn't it be Ultraman Y?
I'm pretty sure this is Ultraman. Oh my god, the Edge! The Evolved Warrior of Light.
Ultraman Belial.
This is true. That is actually very true.
Yes.
So would this be Ultraman XX or Ultraman XXX or Ultraman XX?
Good freaking question.
Well, let's find out. The Evolved Warrior of Light struck his battle pose, letting out a low-pitched version of his signature sound as he faced down the Exilian Terror. Kaiser Ghidorah forgot about the ones who blinded him, his attention solely on the new form of his enemy. He charged at the being of light, filling the air with his shrieking calls as he bore down on the warrior. Ultraman Exceed X spun on his heel and lashed out with his right leg, striking the three-headed freak just beneath his X as he lunged at him. Sorry, too many X's in the match. Yeah. To the surprise of Kaiser Ghidorah, the blow sent him flying back. The Hydra's eyes bulged in shock. Never in all of his conquests had a foe managed to harm his true, all-powerful form. His shock turned to anger, and he filled the air with his infamous cries as his gravity beams fired at the digitized Ultra. Before they could find his form, Ultraman Exceed X took off, speeding up into the sky as the golden bolts tore apart the spot he stood upon previously. Pass.
So, who's next, then?
Pagoda.
Well, Nagoda, you haven't had the chance to read, so go ahead.
Yeah, so... How many do I take?
Just take as many as you want. Just leave Alex with the last few.
Okay. Higher and higher, Ultraman Exceed X ascended, heading for the vastness of space. I hear an echo. Do you guys hear an echo?
Yeah, I'm hearing it too.
I think it's GBZ.
Yeah.
Okay.
Kaiser Ghidorah refused to allow the Warrior of Light to escape. Not after he had managed to harm his indestructible form. The dark spawn of Ghidorah kind spread his wings and summoned his gravitational powers. Manipulating the gravity around him, the Hydra lifted his weight off the ground and tore into the sky after Ultraman Exceed X. The two alien beings continued flying upwards, past the stratosphere and through the planet's atmosphere. As soon as Ultraman Exceed X was exposed to the sun's unprotected rays, his power began to recharge rapidly. Solar energy gathered around his color timer and was absorbed into the object. Soon, it stopped flashing and returned to a healthy blue color. As Kaiser Ghidorah breached the atmosphere and saw this phenomenon, he shrieked with anger as he realized he had fallen for the Ultra's trap. He rocketed towards the rejuvenated hero, maws wide open to tear into his flesh. Ultraman Exceed X whipped around as he sensed the alien's charge. His right arm reared up to his chest and he touched it with his hand. In a burst of multi-hued light, the object detached and formed into the signature weapon of the evolved warrior.
Lager!
Oh my goodness, jeez.
Holding the blade before him, Ultraman Exceed X charged at the oncoming Kaiser Ghidorah head-on. Moments before the two collided, he dove under the golden abomination and slashed the X-Lugger across his belly, drawing a cry of agony and fury from the beast's 3 mouths. While the weapon was not sharp enough to disembowel Kaiser Ghidorah, it left a large gash along the alien's belly that spilled his blood into the black void. Bringing the X-Lugger back up to his forehead, Ultraman Exceed X transformed the blade back into his crest and turned to face Kaiser Ghidorah, who was still reeling from the Digital Warrior's attack. Within the Ultra, Daichi brought his X-Lugger to his forehead, while Ultraman Exceed X touched his crest with his right hand and swiped his left hand up the crystalline object. Daichi placed his finger on the panel on his X-Lugger's side and slid down, activating it. Ultraman Exceed X slowly slid his left hand down his crest, each colored section on the object lighting up as his hand went past, until his hand stopped at the base. Kaiser Ghidorah's eyes locked onto the glowing object and immediately opened fire, combining his gravity beams once more and directing the golden, destructive stream at the Digital Warrior. Daichi pulled the trigger.
Slugger shot!
Ultraman Exceed X's crest fired 4 beams of blue, yellow, red, and purple that swirled around into each other and combined into a single, multicolored blast. It shot through the vacuum and collided with Kaiser Ghidorah's supercharged gravity bolt. Once more, the beams of Ultraman X and Monster X clashed for supremacy. This time, however, there was no contest. Ultraman Exceed X's X-Lugger shot pushed back the Kaiser Ghidorah's beams with ease. The Exilian Hydra kept firing, refusing to relent in the face of defeat. His bolts were forced back into his mouth, and rainbow blasts tore into his chest. As Kaiser Ghidorah screamed in agony, he felt an unfamiliar emotion. A feeling all creatures in the universe felt when their death was near. Fear. Or hunger. But mostly fear. Ultraman Exceed X stopped firing, and with one last cry, Kaiser Ghidorah exploded, sending chunks of his corpse flying through space and into its depths. Ultraman Exceed X floated there, reveling in his victory. In a flash of rainbow light, he de-evolved and returned into his normal state, having mega-evolved previously.
Yeah.
With the forces of Planet X disposed of, Ultraman X descended back down to Earth to de-transform and allow Daichi to help with the process of rebuilding past.
Okay, I guess I'll go.
Yep.
Light years away, on a dark, desolate world, the masterminds behind the attempted conquest of Earth argue with each other, one another. You have failed, mutated, field, beep, beep, beep. The controller of Planet X boomed in a monotone voice as he glared at his Kaiser-powered counterpart from across the war room table.
And how's that my fault?
Exactly. The leader of the Exilians of the new Millennium shrieked,
I warned you of that altered presence on Earth, yet you still insist on going on with the invasion.
do not forget it was you who suggested a full-scale assault with stealthy takeover. Beep, boop, boop. The controller warned the young alien. You and your contaminated brethren are in no place to lecture us. So is this like a metaphor of the older people hating millennials?
I suppose so.
X scowled at the controller.
Your obsession with our race's purity has made us weak, old man. Well, my faction has reached the pinnacle of evolution, so what if we no longer count as the true Exilian? We've been far more successful in our visuals than you ever will be.
Okay, I'm seriously hearing an echo.
Yeah, I'm hearing the echo too.
Who's echoing?
I think it might be Joe. Joe, mute yourself.
Or just disconnect and reconnect.
Yeah.
Like I did. You have lost the only tools you brought to this alliance. I would hardly call you successful. Beep boop. Control controller encountered, X's brow furrowed, and his face went red with anger before he used his blaster and planted shot on his counterparts and secured phase the controller spoke again. Since you have failed and the Earthlings now know of our system, it now falls on me to continue where you fail. At those words, X relaxed and leaned back into his chair, propping his feet up onto the table as he allowed a chuckle to escape his lips.
I was the only side of this alliance with monsters. How exactly are you gonna pick up some real power to back you up? Gosh darn it.
The smirk crossed the controller's lips. X ceased chuckling, and a chill went up his spine as it dawned on him his ally hadn't been as honest with him as he thought. You trust in us, telling you the truth is misplaced, the Illyrian gloated as he pressed a button on his chair and activated the screen above him. Brody all turned to look at the monitor and the three alien forms displayed upon it. As a chorus of screeches, shrieks, and cackles filled the room, X, for the first time in his existence, felt the emotion known as fear consume him as the controller in the subordinates laughed villainously. Oh, I thought they laughed heroically. Good to know they're laughing villainously. Preparing for the upcoming conquest of Earth and the destruction of Ultraman X, and every other kaiju on Earth, but yeah, let's just focus on him. Winner, Ultraman X.
Ooh, this one was a... Yeah. This one was a pretty long one, I'll admit. But of course, I think most of us knew that going in.
I now hate the letter X.
I do not. I can definitely confirm I did not upon joining. I was like, oh, there's been a lot of comments for this page. Oh, wait.
Oh, my goodness.
Kaiju X, since I hate the letter X now, I demand you change your name to Kaiju Y.
No. I will keep the X name as a means of torture, so...
Fuck.
But yeah, honestly, I know I wasn't here for part of it, and I know I read a nice bit of it when going over, apparently missing some spots. That's what I get for rushing, I guess. I mean, this one is I would call this a good match, though I will admit the overabundance of X's. Yeah,
it's tiring.
It can be tiring. It can be. But it's like this is still overall a decent match. Like, it has characters there. Like, I mean, they're there to, help, like, if you're familiar with the show, I'm sure you already, like, if you're reading this for yourself, if you're familiar with the show, I'm sure you probably know the material better than I do. But
yes, I do.
You're welcome. But it's like, yeah, it's like it has the characters there. It has the, like, the Ultraman X from the series fighting Gigan and Monster X, which, decent fight. I'll admit, probably for me personally, I think it picked up once Monster X won Kaiser Ghidorah. I think that's where thing. Like, granted, I know I wasn't here. I was using the bathroom, but it did pick up for me more when Monster X transformed. So, and yeah, I actually do like the epilogue at the way end. I do like the fact that it's like both the Xillions have some kind of weird allegiance thing going on, that the controller is doing more than what the regulator's doing, or there's more at hand. So if there is a continuation of this, I am looking forward to that.
For one plan, definitely.
Mm-hmm. So
yeah, I mean, it's definitely the ending is kind of cool, and I will say the fight sequences are pretty detailed, which is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
The only problem is, as someone that has no idea about Ultraman,
right, about Ultraman X, yeah, that's probably the biggest.
It's very much like the best way I could describe it is jumping right into the middle of a death match. Like, you guys ever seen the show Death Battle?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's jumping into the episode with Naruto versus Ichigo, but you're jumping in during the battle. You're just like, what is going on? Why can that guy turn into? Oh, he's now 100. Okay,
right,
and that guy got a new form. Now he has a giant blade.
Well, it didn't help that Grey Shot literally jumped in halfway through. So
exactly.
So it's like Cyber Gamora. What's going on here?
Yeah, Cyber Gamora, Cyber Card. Like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Again, this is not
Cyber monsters are a thing for some reason.
Again, this is not Birdman's fault or anything, but that just sounds so goddamn stupid.
Well, that's Ultraman for you, but
yeah, but again, that's any material if you're unaware with it. If you're totally aware, it's like, oh yeah, Blue Eyes White Dragon and Red Eyes, super awesome cards. But if you were to like pull it back and have someone else that has never seen like anything, you'd be like, what are those things? What? It's a dragon. Doesn't even
Right, yeah.
like just as an example. But no, otherwise it's still detailed. I still got most of it. Yeah, the other thing I will say is apparently the thing of him risking his life I did kind of a little bit funny was he's about to power up to the Exceed form and nothing happens. It's like he powers up. Oh my god, I put so much at risk. It's like I never got that sense of risk as was being built up. I expected some kind of daring move to go on. Not him just to power up. I was like, I'm guessing that's super big in the show, but for me it seemed like, okay, he just got to power up. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see what this does.
Yeah.
Oh god, I'm tempted. In any case, what about you guys? What other thoughts?
Yeah, let's go down the list with Grandpa.
Oh my god! So this is how they sell this is how they sell card packs in Japan.
Okay, as writer of this match, Burbid, what were you thinking?
I'm going to abuse the powers to use as many ultras as I could, and it paid off.
Okay, good. Great to know.
Also, I think you're going to enjoy. The sequel, Alex, because it features two of your favourite monster, Gomorrah.
Oh
And
no!
Red King?
You have two Belials?
No, two Gomorrahs.
Oh wait! Oh
Oh,
god!
two Goldbergs.
Oh lordy.
Oh.
Is it Mecha, Cyber, and Regular?
So,
No, so two.
so is this all I'm gonna hear for that match?
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh boy, that'll be fun to listen to or read.
But yeah, no,
Yeah,
overall, still very good match. And I would say probably, even though again I can't point, still probably the best written one of the three that we've gone through so far. Actually, it's a story.
And-
Even though I only jumped in halfway, the ending was still good.
Definitely. This is, you know what? This is an example of what Match 2 should have done. Like, it's like it doesn't need like a super elaborate story, but it sets one up. It has characters in it, so just that way they could be there to detail certain events, or they're active participants
Or
as
some card
opposed
packs.
right as opposed to the non-characters we got with Match 2.
Yeah.
So.
But anyone else? Anyone else have any comments?
I assume GVC is next.
Yes.
I thought it was alright. I thought the overusage of X was
Extreme.
really monotonous. I got really tired of it fast. And the fights were pretty entertaining. I like the story. And I'm curious of how the next one will be.
Or, as Joe would also say, in all seriousness, this match was great. Though it was a little on the predictable side. This back and forth make up for that. Just damn, what a great match.
So in the KWCE anime, is Kaiju X confirmed to dub over GVC?
Yes!
Wait, what?
I am your dubber. Like, if you're the Japanese version, Joe, I am the English dub. Alright, Nagoda?
So what would my English dub be? Huh. One of the other weird voices I have.
Sure.
Yes.
It'd be the gay Yoda voice.
Anyway, Nagoda, what'd you think of it?
Pagoder?
Is it my turn?
Yes.
Oh, well, when I first read this, I thought I knew it would be one of the usual hero wins this type of battle type of deal. But then, during the reading, when I was reading it, it played out more like an actual episode of the show because I've actually watched through the whole entire show, and I like that about in matches where sometimes when you read them, they actually feel like they can be part of the actual movie or TV series.
Okay. Okay, good to know. Good to know. Again, I'm not familiar with the series, so I don't know exactly its its quirks or whatever. So, but I'm glad to hear that is like show accurate. So, okay, good to know.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay, my turn.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'll say this: it's the best of the 3 we've read so far.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, considering I came in during the 3rd one, I agree with you.
Yeah. Compared to the other 2, this was a lot better. I still think there's some problems, mind you, but again, definitely a lot better.
Yep.
I'll just say this. I mean, the fight was nice, but my problem with it is that it kind of dragged on for a little too long. It seems like Gigan was defeated relatively easily. I mean, he still had a role to play.
It's Final Wars Gigan.
I mean, yeah, come on, it's Gigan. What were you expecting?
Oh, I don't know. Him being around for a lot longer.
Cutting off his own head, maybe.
Well, again, Alex, it's Final Wars Gigan.
But the monster card
Did you guys
has
head blown
Showa.
Well, if you look closely at the skin portion, you will see the Millennium Gigan right there. So there he is. He's that tiny little thing.
Well, Kaiju X, I didn't remember asking you your opinion.
Hey!
But yeah, as I was saying, I think the fight could have down since, again, I don't know this way, but I felt it went on for a little too long. The Kaiser Ghidorah thing was fine. I mean, I think that could have happened a little earlier. I'd say maybe cut out some stuff and
Yeah, I think
it probably would have been paced a little better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think maybe cutting out some of the the post Gigan death to Kaiser Ghidorah transfer, like that whole fight between Ultraman X and Monster X, I think could have been just trimmed a bit. So, and then we could have gotten straight to Kaiser Ghidorah shortly, like a little bit after. So,
yeah, maybe cut like, I don't know, maybe 500 words, make it a little nicer. Other than that, I'd say it's pretty decent.
Mm-hmm.
I will say the discussion between the 2 types of exilians was a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That part for me.
Yep.
It'll also help that you read it, but yeah, still, that was actually a really entertaining bit. Like, that's what I've always...
Yeah, it's kind of nice seeing 2, I guess, generations of exilians arguing with each other.
Right. Yeah, I do
being
like...
disgusted with each other.
Right. Yeah, I do enjoy, like, the contrast between the 2 different kinds of exilians. That was really nice. So it's like... It's why I'd love to see a sequel to this soon, because it's like I want to see more of the controller and the regulator bouncing off each other. Because I think there's something really good there.
Because this is what I would want to see most of all in a hypothetical sequel.
Mm-hmm.
Just them arguing, seeing how much more they differ.
Mm-hmm.
But aside from it being going on for too long and not understanding the Ultraman X stuff, then again, the latter is my fault for not watching Ultraman or whatever.
Likewise.
Yeah, I thought it was, I thought it was decent. It's a lot better compared to the other 2. But yeah, not bad.
So,
and like Ray Shot or whoever said, this one definitely contains the world building that Match 2 should have.
Yeah.
Yep.
Totally. And with that said, I think everyone has said their opinions. That was match 3 of the KWCE. And we'll see you guys next time for match number 4. Kamen Rider J versus Zarkor versus Kra. Until then, folks.
Slugger shot!